Hello everyone, it's Ty. Not only will Star Rail 4.2 be an exciting patch for the story, the free stuff, and the new characters, it also brings us another Husbando Novaflare. So today I thought it an opportune time to give a quick overview of his new kit, gear choices, team synergies, and give my free-to-play Husbando recommendation for our favorite Mecha Mad Zaddy, Welt. Welt is an imaginary Nihility character and our first Novaflare from the Standard Banner pool. Hopefully that means more of the Standard Banner characters will get theirs in the future. Maybe they could bother making Yanqing actually playable? But, unlike poor Yanqing, Welt already had a kit that wasn't designed by a room full of monkeys on typewriters. His unique niche involved slowing and action delaying the enemies, and while this Novaflare hasn't quite made him the insane Time Lord that he is in Currency Wars, it comes remarkably close. His playstyle still revolves around using his skill to reduce the speed of enemies hit by the bounce, then using his ult to imprison all enemies, causing an action delay and damage amplification. The key difference is that now using ult applies a debuff called Weightless, which is now the encapsulation of everything he does. Enemies that are weightless have their defense reduced by 40% and their speed reduced by 5%. So far, so great. But then, whenever an enemy that is weightless is attacked, their action is delayed by 4%. And this can happen up to 8 times per target per turn, a possible 32% action delay for each turn an enemy can take. Weightless lasts for 2 turns, so that's a possible 64% action delay in total if you manage to unleash a flurry of attacks. And that's not all. Taking a play out of Hanya's book, Weightless acts as a buff-applying debuff, such that whenever an ally attacks an enemy that has the Weightless debuff, they gain a 10% damage bonus buff to themselves, stacking up to 10 times and lasting for 2 turns. That's already a lot to be managing in 2 turns, but if he can reapply Weightless before it expires, Welt completely controls the battlefield, giving an effectively infinite amount of action delay, along with 100% damage bonus and 40% def shred. And we haven't even gotten to his E4 yet, which adds another 30% all-type res reduction on top. Of course, sprinkled throughout the rest of his kit is stuff that helps him do some respectable damage as well. Various increases to his additional damage, and a nice effect hit rate conversion trace that gives him some attack to compensate for the EHR he'll want to be running to guarantee applying slow. But that's, in my opinion, superfluous to his main purpose of damage amplification and action manipulation. And at that, I believe he is unparalleled. So, my free-to-play Husbando recommendation is, I guess to put him in your Celestial Invitation and pray you lose 50-50? While he's already remarkable just at E0, you'll at least want to take him to E4 to get the most out of it. His E6 is also a pretty hefty increase to his DPS capabilities, if you're into that sort of thing, but E4 is really the important bit. Also, if you happen to have a Standard Banner selector, whether the 300 pulls selector or if we're given one as a gift to gain in the future, Welt is definitely a good choice from those. Now, is he worth getting out of the Stellar Convergence shop using your Golden Companion spirits? Well, I guess that depends. Your options in the shop are the Standard Banner characters plus Luocha, Ruanmei, Topaz, and soon Robin and Huohuo. If you don't have Welt and you don't care about those limited characters, then picking him up isn't going to brick your account. They've so far established a precedent that whenever they add a new character to the shop, they also give us a free spirit anyway, so you likely won't be losing out on anyone in the future. But really, the most sensible choice for using your golden spirits would generally be to only use them on limited banner characters, since you can always end up getting the standard banner characters from 50-50 losses. At the end of the day, though, it's your account and your decision, and you should always choose what brings you joy. And while that sentiment was very sweet, it leaves me in a very awkward place for a transition, he says as if he isn't the one in control of writing this. So let's lean into it and talk about gear. Welt's gear basically comes in two flavors, DPS and support. Personally, I don't cotton to the idea of building him for DPS, but if you were going to do it, you'd want to put him in 4-piece Pioneer Diver of Dead Waters. He can maintain the full buffs on his own with the slow from his skill and the weightless and imprison on his ult, though the imprison only lasts for one turn. For planers, Firmament Frontline Glamoff is the best if you can get his speed high enough, but that's a fool's game. No matter how nice his Novaflare, Welt will not stay powerful as a DPS for long. His power lies in being support, and the best way for Welt to support is to do everything he can to get his ult up fast and keep it up consistently. So I'd recommend a 2-piece speed combination of Hackerspace, Sacerdoce, Warrior Goddess, or even the new Diviner of Distant Reach. Geez, there sure are a lot of 2-piece speed sets now. Anyway, the faster Welt moves, the sooner he can slow the enemy. And the sooner he can get his ult, the sooner he can delay the enemy into oblivion. With that in mind, he should use one of the energy regen planar sets. Lushaka is great if you have an attack scaling carry you're wanting to pump full of bonus stats, but since Welt's basically a Chronomancer, you might as well keep on theme by using Von Whack to get the drop and the slow on the enemies right from jump. And of course, Penacony is only useful in an imaginary team. But hey, since we're getting loadouts now too, maybe you'll want to add it to one. Why not? For main stats, you'll want Effect Hit Rate Body, Speed Boots, Imaginary Orb, and Energy Regeneration Rope. He only needs 80% EHR though in order to maximize his conversion trace, so if you get some really good EHR substats, you can replace that body with crit rate or crit damage. For substats, you'll want EHR at least till cap, and the inclination to build DPS would mean crit rate, crit damage, and attack percent, but to maximize his Chronomancy, don't ignore break effect. While you won't necessarily be building him for max break damage, increasing his break effect will also increase the delay and duration of imprisons caused if he happens to be the one who breaks the enemy. It doesn't affect the imprison from his ult, but it can still come in quite handy on occasion and make him even more of a master of time. And now, it seems, it's time for teams. With his Novaflare, Welt enters the field as a damage amplifier on par with Ashvale and E1S1 Jiao Cho, who seems to be really taking a beating these days. I won't be surprised if the Blade SP completely power creeps him, but we'll talk about that later. For now, Welt's Def Shred makes him great in just about every team, while his damage bonus is great for everyone except Break and Elation teams. One might even be inclined to think that replacing his vulnerability with a damage bonus was done to intentionally reduce his usefulness in those teams. But setting aside that conspiratorial thinking, Boothill still loves him for the Def Shred, and his pseudo Ruanmei action delay is now even more potent than before. In fact, that action delay can be a boon to just about any team, and can actually be used to replace your healer or shielder as a sort of pseudo-sustain if you're into that sort of thing. Delay the enemy enough and do enough damage, and they die before it's even their turn, and you win. But the way that the action delay is designed, it is best abused by teams that can attack fast and often. So follow-up attackers like Ratio, Ashvale, Moza, and Aventurine are really good at proccing those delays. In fact, between the way the action delay was designed and the way that the damage bonus stacks, one might even think that Welt was very specifically being updated in order to work with some future follow-up attack character that we may eventually see released. But we'll just have to see. I'm quite excited that Welt's Novaflare has made him not only an impressive and viable universal damage amplifier, but has also really doubled down on his turn manipulation mechanics. He was always a character I liked the idea of, but could never quite find much viable use for, so I really look forward to legitimately doing so rather than just doing it for the lulz. But what do you think? Are you hoping to lose 50-50 now and get yourself a Welt? Or maybe you're glad to finally dust off your E20 Welt and run him unironically? Let me know in the comments. So, that's my guide on Novaflare Welt. Hopefully you found it entertaining, informative, or both. Either way, thanks so much for watching. If you like this sort of thing, please like and subscribe. Hit that bell to be notified when I post more things of this or any other nature. I'm still going with that breezy blitz recommendation format, so if you have any questions about anything I said or I didn't mention, let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can do. Anywho, thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you all again next time. Bye!